Hi, welcome to Wake Up Mondays, where we are here to elevate the diverse voices of students, staff, faculty, and alumni within the ONeil School at IU Bloomington. My name is Sabrina Brandt, and I am with the ONeil School's Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And today we have Eliza Brader, who is a second-year MPA student. So welcome to Wake Up Mondays. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I think I'm a little tired like everybody else, but doing pretty well considering. So
That's good. Do I hear someone in the background?
yes, that's my service dog, Lucy. She's playing and helping. Um, Sorry about that in
Oh,
advance.
you're fine. You're totally fine. I just figured she should be introduced. I'm sure you'll talk about it
Yes.
more.
I'll
Well,
send you a photo of Lucy to put up so that way.
fabulous. I'm sure everyone would love to see that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for being here. Our first set of questions is just to tell us a little bit about yourself. So can you tell me a little bit about what you were studying and why you chose to pursue it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm doing it, like Sabrina said, I'm a second year MPA. I'm concentrating in policy analysis, and I am specifically interested in education, law, policy, and policy reform. I am from southern New Mexico, and New Mexico is actually one of the worst states, if not still currently the worst in the United States for K through 12 education on a nationally ranked scale. We are also have some of the highest childhood poverty rates in the nation, and we also have the most PhDs per capita of any state. So it's this really kind of like strange dichotomy in New Mexico of really intelligent people and then really poor school systems. And I had a really poor K through 12 experience. So as I got older and got into higher ed, I realized that there are ways to improve these things, and I think that policy is the best avenue to do that. So that's why I study it, because I want to make it better.
That's great. Thank you. I love hearing stories about people being inspired by their hometowns or communities to pursue a career. So awesome. Well, why did you end up choosing to come to the ONeil School, and how did you hear about the ONeil School?
Yeah, so I feel like my story is a little bit similar to some of the other people who have been interviewed, in that I just kind of stumbled into learning about the ONeil School. Like the ONeil School finds you, you don't find it really. I had a friend who went to ONeil in undergrad back when it was SPIA, and I was trying to find something to do for, like, I want to take a gap year or two between undergrad and law school. I thought I just wasn't really ready yet. I wanted something that would improve my writing skills and things like that. And she just told me, I think you'd be a great fit at ONeil. And I thought about it and went and kind of browsed online, and I found a couple of professors who were doing really inspiring work that I was like super passionate about. And I thought, oh my goodness, if I can just take one class with these people, it would be so amazing for my career and my future. And so I applied, and that was, the rest is history. So
That's great. Yeah, it's really funny hearing all these different ways people learn. I know the way I found out was like really random too, and I don't know, you almost expect more consistency with that question, but I haven't really had
I
any yet.
know.
So. Awesome, cool. Well, so can you tell us a little bit more about your experience navigating higher ed? And since education is part of the reason why you chose this path, you could also talk about your experience even with undergrad too. Anything that you think might enhance us understanding your perspective.
Yeah, so although it's a little obvious, I am a queer woman. But in addition to that, I'm also a disabled woman. I use a wheelchair and a few other medical devices to help me in my everyday life. And I'm also really active in the disabled community. I do a lot of outreach and a lot of kind of trying to do like community education and cultural competency stuff. So things like that. Yeah, I would say that as a queer disabled woman in higher ed, I think like anybody, I've certainly faced my fair share of discrimination. I've had, all kinds of interesting experiences with lack of accommodations and issues, but it's kind of like you take the good with the bad. Being part of these cultural communities has also given me the opportunity to connect with some of the most amazing professors and peers that I more like, sorry, that, these people that are more brilliant than I could have ever imagined, more brilliant than I'll ever be. And they've all really like built me up and helped me kind of learn how I can use my skill set to try to give back to these communities that have given so much to me. So, yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Well, do you have any advice you would like to offer to any student, whether that's someone who shares your identity in any element or just someone who's new to the ONeil School?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this is something that I've learned in higher ed in general, but being at ONeil has really solidified it. Find what you're passionate about and chase it. Right now, I'm doing a project that's actually related to dispute system design and like mediation and negotiation, which is not something I ever thought that I would be interested in when I came to ONeil. But after taking the course and getting to know the professors working on the research in that field, I realized that it's actually super essential to the work I want to do long term. And so, yeah, just be willing to be open. And if you find something you're interested in, chase it, because ONeil is kind of this like beautiful conglomeration of like science and policy and humanities and just all these wonderful fields working together. So even if you think you're bad at something or think that that's not for you, take a moment, consider it. And if you're interested, go after it.
That's awesome. I love that advice. Thank you so much. I guess our last question is similar to that. And I was just curious just to learn a little bit more about you before we go, is if you have anything that you like to do in your free time, just as a way to promote self-care and taking care of yourself, and that people who go to the ONeil School don't need to constantly be working. Do you have any recommendations for self-care or hobbies and things like that?
Yeah, I highly recommend a dog. Quarantine puppies are the best, and my sweet service dog Lucy gets me out of the house regularly, and forces me to be social and all these wonderful things. But on top of that, I actually have taken up cross stitching since I've started grad school. And so I think that like finding a quiet hobby that you can spend some time with yourself, especially like reflecting and just like sitting back from the craziness that is grad life, I think is super important.
That's great. Thank you so much. Well, thank you everybody for staying tuned. If you feel like Eliza mentioned some instances with accommodations and things like that, if you feel like you would like assistance with anything that you might have related to with that, you're always welcome to reach out to our office at the ONeil School's Office of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion at our email, which is oodei@indiana.edu. Also, if you're interested in being on Wake Up Mondays or recruiting anybody else to be on Wake Up Mondays, you could send us an email there too. But thank you so much, Eliza, for being here with us. It was great to have you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, you too.